truths.
Balrogs and Blastbeats for another week. Hey! This right here is just a nerdy concepts podcast, but also with the intersection of all things alternative music, metal, all that kinds of stuff. We like to find the intersection between the two, and I think in what is now episode 8, we've done a pretty good job so far. I am one of your hosts. My name is Josh Redbeard.
Oh, I'm next. Hi, I'm Margy. I don't have a red beard.
Howdy. I'm Grant, and today we're going to do what we always do. We're going to talk about the nerdiest things we've done this week. For me, I'd like to start by saying that I enjoy watching bad movies. I love a good bad movie.
Oh, same.
But this week I watched what I would consider the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Ooh.
So, one of my go-tos for a good bad movie, and I mean a good bad movie, is Steven Seagal movies, because they're always awful. But I watched one of his vehicles this week called Attack Force. So essentially, the plot, as always, he's like some shady military operator. Every single movie plays the same character. So a bunch of his men get murdered in a hotel by some gangsters, and apparently these gangsters,
gangsters
that are on drugs that give them superhuman strength and speed, and it's all like
Crack.
mystery ensues. He's trying to stop the gangsters from. Essentially, I'm going to spoil it because the movie's garbage. Don't fucking ever watch this. They're trying to stop the gangsters from putting this drug that gives everyone super speed and strength and makes them super aggressive in the water supply. But here's the catch. Turns out the whole movie's overdubbed because the gangsters were actually originally aliens and they have this super tech, and the whole thing was about the aliens trying to destroy the water supply in this town. But the studio hated it so much that they overdubbed the entire movie. So there's 3 voices in the entire movie. Every person in this movie is one of these 3 different voices, and it's fucking so bad.
That's incredible.
I can't believe
so
you
many
watched
levels.
the whole thing, but I can't.
I had to. I was just stuck in the moment.
I also hate to break it to you, but that's kind of reality. There is so much meth in the sewage water coming out of Florida that there are gators addicted to meth in Florida.
I think there's got to be a whole philosophical study you could go on. Is because I like that they've realized how bad the movie is, and they knew that no matter what, it was still going to be bad, but they still released it. They're like, we're going to try and polish this turd as best as we can. I would love to just get a bit deeper on when is a turd beyond polish? When is
it's got to be solid for you to polish it. I mean, if we're really going into the technicals,
this 2006 Steven Seagal as well. So it's not like he's one half decent movie, which is Under Siege with Tommy Lee Jones. He's one okay movie, not even good. It's okay.
Controversial opinion: Under Siege 2 is better than Under Siege.
Yes, I don't mind. I don't mind the same movie, but on a train instead of a boat.
I only found out who Steve Seagal was a month ago, if that, because I thought people just meant Ty Seagal, and then I was like, wait, he did movies, and I don't know. I was just assumed I was, then I found out.
He's also a blues musician as well. He's got Spotify. He's got whole albums and shit.
Yeah, Margy, then I know the answer for you, but Grant, this question I guess is for you. Then, have you ever watched Steven Seagal Lawmaker?
Oh, probably. I've seen a lot of his movies. I've seen.
No. This isn't a movie. This is a reality TV show.
No. Oh, is that this bounty hunter thing?
No. So it's one of like you said, Steven Seagal is a blues musician, but he's also a volunteer sheriff in his local county. And there is an A&E TV show where he legit goes and it's Cops with Steven Seagal, and there's all these crackheads and stuff that are getting arrested, but all of them are just oh my god, I'm being arrested by Steven Seagal. It is the fucking.
Does he do it from a seat? Because since 2011, I've not seen a movie that he stands up in because he's fat now. And he just sits down the whole time. He fights people from a seat. There's a movie where he's watching fighting these Chinese agents and he's fighting them from a seat.
Or is he all in the shadows like Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now because he was fat?
No, I was watching this in 2010.
Full on like triple chin fighting this guy from a seat. And then I saw this one he released in 2016. It's called like Spec Ops Sniper or something like that. And in the like the cover art, you can see his like head's like clearly just photoshopped onto a soldier that's like fit. And the whole movie, he's just sitting down. Like, he doesn't stand up once. It's so fucking hilarious.
I mean, I would be super down for like the hero in an action movie to be in a wheelchair. Like, not like the Avatar movie where he gets put into a different body and is then good.
Yeah.
But like I want to see like a superhero movie where they're in a wheelchair. Like, surely there's some superheroes in wheelchairs. I would like to see one of those movies made.
And not The Ringer.
I mean, we spoke about Shazam last week. There is he's not in a wheelchair, but he's physically confined to his crutches. Billy Batson's friend, that I forget his name. But then when he becomes the superhero, then he loses his crutch. So it's not exactly the same thing. Oh no, Oracle, technically Batwoman, Martha Gordon, after she gets her back broken by the Joker, she becomes like the person in the person who like helps Batman out and like gives him all his advice and stuff like that. She's got like super smart,
she's like
super
the tech
brain.
lady.
Yeah, she's the tech lady who like helps. Yeah, once I think it's Joker breaks her back and she ends up in a wheelchair, and then she's like. Yeah, she uses her like super brain to help Batman out in a lot of places that he can't get out of. So that's probably the closest in like mainstream culture, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was literally trying to rack my brain. I think that's it.
So,
but yes. So no is the answer to your question.
But yes, but no. Glad we got there in the end.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, Margy, what about you though? What is the nerdiest thing that you've done this week?
It was the decision to embark upon making a physical flowchart of all the Ashraman and Aes Sedai in the Wheel of Time series. I'm on to book 9 now, and there are so many fucking Aes Sedai, and everyone's names are the same. So I want to do like little drawings, so I remember their physical appearance, and then break up all the Aes Sedai by their Aja, which is like different classes kind of within their power structure. So there's like 7 of them. And then like their allegiance, who are they connected to, their feats, where are they from? And then go full Charlie Day and like connect the big ones, like big connections in red string, and be like, so these ones did this, these ones did this. And maybe even just like a quick little reference list I can flick to that just has all of them in there. So it's got like them, a picture, their Aja, and then like smiley face or sad face. I just started trying to compile all the Aes Sedai I've come across, but I'm like, do I wait till I finish the book series? Oh God. Anyway, so that's me thinking that I need more. And I want a physical copy because then I can hold it and no one can steal it from me.
I have no idea what a single thing that you just said is, because I've never read any of these books.
Okay, no, Wheel of Time. There's magic women, called Aes Sedai, and then they're all broken up into different classes, like within the same White Tower, and then they're broken up into different.
So they're not like
allegiance
factions per se, or
it's kind of like factions, within the same thing. So it's like, like the Red Aja hunt men who can channel, and then like the White Aja are all about like philosophy kind of, and it's stuff like that. So, and like the Yellow Aja are all about healing, but but it's like kind of good to be able to know, and good God, there's a lot of them. And then there's like
sounds like it.
And at the point that I'm at, like, there's Aes Sedai everywhere who are associated with different people, and I'm like, and now, spoiler, there's men who can channel popping up everywhere, and fuck me. At least they're not split into anything. They're all just...
I didn't even have a section for them on the board yet.
Well, the meta going to have to be a different one, because then they're all going to start going crazy. So, That's not a spoiler. That's a fact. Anyway, so Wheel of Time, excellent, but so many characters. My God, so many characters. Josh, you planning any nerdy little
segments?
I cannot say that I am, but this week I've been I've done a real deep dive into this thing called Midjourney. Midjourney is they're a research lab, but their main IP at the moment by the same name is an AI art program. So literally you write in a prompt and then within 1 minute it delivers like a phenomenal piece of artificially created artwork, and it's interesting.
These memes I've seen going around where
no, so that's the other one's DAL-E is kind of the other popular one, which people have been doing, like Shrek fights Batman and things like that. Yeah. Whereas these ones are a lot more like high concept. So so people are taking this.
Napoleon eats a pound of sausages in front of 9/11.
No,
and then just all the
people
come out of that,
which is peak art.
Yeah, people are doing these to show concepts of heaven and hell and things like that in some really amazing ways. And there's some interesting discussion because I'm in the main Midjourney Facebook group. I'm in the Discord. I also got the free beta open test and tested out a couple of things myself. And it's interesting because the main conversation that kind of keeps on happening through all these posts is who is the artist in this particular case, because obviously these people who are creating this artwork, they're just writing whatever they want down. That's the people that are entering the prompt. So they're putting in high concepts, H.R. Geiger inspired, God meets devil on the battlefield sort of thing. Actually, but it is. It's this interesting concept that people are having these constant conversations within the comments of all these posts about is the person writing the prompt considered an artist, because they're not really creating the end product as such, but they have the idea, but the idea is just a couple of words. And so obviously there's a lot of graphic designers in there that's being no, you're not an artist, you're just you're using a prompter, so to speak. And so it's kind of, if anything, the computer's the artist, but then but then the argument would then go on, is the person who designed the program Midjourney the actual artist? It is an amazing philosophical conversation to have of who in this particular case is the artist.
Well, by that logic, does that mean that people who commission portraits of themselves back in the day, does that mean that they were the artist because they had the concept? I want myself looking regal with a sword, and obviously it doesn't mean that they're the artist, but that's a really interesting one. And how the fuck are we going to conserve those?
Grant, to answer your point though, it was interesting. There was another note that I had. They actually just changed, because when Midjourney released it, it had a whole bunch of and this is business, me getting my fucking business hat on. They had a whole bunch of terms and conditions about who owned it, and the original concept was that Midjourney owned it, but there was an unlimited license given to the person who gave the prompts. But just recently, they actually changed the licensing to be the other way around. So now whoever puts in the prompts owns the copyright to it, but they give Midjourney an unlimited license to do whatever they want with it. So
that's probably better in the way that so Midjourney turn around is oh shoot, we own a really uncomfortable amount of Nazi paraphernalia because of all these weird people on the internet.
No, they've got banned words, and the banned words are still there's some funny screenshots that have come up. A person tried to get an artificially created image of some dogs, but Midjourney came back and said that black cock is not allowed because he wanted a black cocker spaniel. But Midjourney just saw black cock and went, no, that's banned, you can't say that. So there's been some very funny screenshots around the words that you're allowed to use.
That's specious that I won't stand for.
100%.
Yeah, that's rude.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have any sort of cocker spaniel because no matter what color you use, it's banned completely. But yeah, it's been really, really fun kind of thinking about, you know, the philosophical idea of who is the artist in that particular case. So I've been having fun with it.
You should you should look deeper into time-based media and installation media, and there's a lot of very esoteric literature to be read about that kind of stuff.
Is there any kind of like say like trademark we're talking about, stuff like that? So all the artwork that the bot has plagiarized, all the pictures to then form it into the picture that it gives you, like how does that work? Copyright-wise?
Copyright law says once it's changed by more than 10%, you don't own the copyright anymore.
Oh, okay.
So if they amalgamate a whole bunch of stuff in, it doesn't matter because it's not going to like even if there's like silhouettes to like Mickey Mouse or something like that, and then it would be changed so dramatically because it's interesting looking at the images because even images of people, unless they're like, because you can like add amendments to it, so you can like change certain parts of it, make it look more realistic, and then they do start to look like the things that they are. But yeah, especially the first iterations are quite deformed and weird in certain ways. So
what you're telling me is I could steal a picture of someone's face and put huge sunglasses on them because that's going to take up more than 10% of the overall picture, and then it's fine. Because I put fake sunglasses over their face.
I mean,
in my opinion,
you could argue that by you altering the art, it is therefore your art. Yeah, pretty much. Like I mean, like someone could take you to town for it, and it would be a real petty, shitty court case. But yeah, the law stands that once you alter something by 10%, it's yours. Sweet. But obviously, like the stronger your copyright lawyers are, like even if you change,
people find a way. It depends how much money you have.
Even if you depends if you're Metallica.
Yeah. And if you change Mickey Mouse by 10%, you're still going to get sued, like, you know, all that sort of stuff. So there is a lot of gray area in there. But yeah, the general law is it only has to be changed by 10%.
Unless you have heaps of money.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. Do you know who I want to be my intellectual property lawyer?
Who?
Lars Ulrich.
Don't know how much he knows about the law, but he would be tenacious, and I think that's what.
Yeah, it's the tenacity that really counts.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Excellent.
We're going to move in to the medium beat though of this episode, and it's one I pitched out to you two because I had an experience like this recently, and I'm entitling this segment "I Was Wrong." And I think we just need to take this time to treat this like an AA meeting. And I'm going to say, my name is Joshua Mariel, and I was wrong. And then I'm going to admit that I'm wrong about something. And if you two want to do so afterwards, you're more than welcome to.
I'll go last because mine's a bit of a bombshell. So.
Okay.
Oh, all right. Does that mean I have to go?
If you want to go first, Margy, you're welcome to go first.
The notes that I have written for this are, I've never been wrong in my entire life. I asked one of my best mates about it, who's my bandmate as well. And he's like, I cannot think of anything that you have changed your mind on. You seem to be pretty sticky in your opinions, so I can't really think of anything. And I was
even if you're wrong, you're tenacious.
Yeah, I think that sums me up. I do mostly run on spite, so maybe I can say that I was wrong about certain vegetables as a child. That's all that's coming to my head. It's bleak. It's real bleak. So your segment's going really well, Josh.
That's all right. That's all right. Because we'll kind of move on.
The first stage is denial, so it's all right.
100%.
Maybe we'll come back to it. I'll think of something.
You'll come to the party one day. Like all good AA meetings, people can't admit it straight away. So
as soon as this is released, so many people are going to be like, Margy, I've proven you wrong on so many different things.
Margy. But I will go.
All right, Josh.
My name is Josh, and I was wrong. About Miss Marvel, because I watched the very first episode of Miss Marvel and went, "Nah, I don't want to watch this," because it felt to me like it was too aimed at kids. It felt like it was the first piece of Marvel property that was aimed at sort of like
young adult or
like 15 to 21-year-olds. There's a lot of
young
references
adult.
to like TikTok and stuff like that. And I was like, and that's totally okay. But I was like, that's the direction they're moving in. And it just didn't feel like it was anything I was going to connect to. So I just didn't. I was like, nah, that's fine. Whatever. Couple of weeks went past and I went, I think it was just at home and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna put it on while I do some work. And I fell in love with it because beyond the first episode, it's so full of like cultural and historical history. Like it teaches you so much about like the division of India and Pakistan. Like it was created by
like under
Bisha
British
Ali.
occupation.
Yeah, like the end of the British occupation. It was created by Bisha Ali, who is a British Pakistani stand-up comedian, and it's it never would have gone down that path if it was created by like XYZ white guy. Like
Georgeson.
George would never have made this because honestly, it felt like the first episode. It felt like that's the way that they were going. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, this is this is this person's background, but we're not going to get too much into it because we can just reference TikToks. But the depth of it is actually fucking amazing, and I think it's a strong argument for why like diversity amongst these diversity within like things like Marvel properties is so fucking important because
not just in casting but writing as well.
Yeah, and not just in casting, but in writing, because like, even if you had like the lead being, a Pakistani actor, like getting the depth in the script and the understanding in like the scenes and everything like that was phenomenal. I was
making
actually
it feel
blown away.
sincere instead of just like an op.
Yeah,
I think that's
100%.
the big difference is like
not just like a thing.
Not just doing it
because
people think you
PC.
should be doing, but actually doing it sincerely with care for the character. I think is still the best way to do it.
Yeah, and they nailed it, and even like the end, I won't spoil the last episode, but there's something that's stated in the last episode, and then there's a sound effect which is the theme to an older piece of Marvel property that people of my older persuasion will recognize instantly. And as soon as it fucking happened, I got goosebumps, like proper fucking goosebumps, and just went, oh. And that's one thing that Marvel just do so well is like understanding their property as far back as it fucking goes. And yeah, there's something that happens in the last episode that literally gave me goosebumps.
So
it's
I'll
Transformers.
have no idea.
They're putting Transformers in the Marvel universe.
Oh fuck yes!
But yeah, if you haven't checked it out, I like wholeheartedly recommend it. But yeah, I had dinner with a friend the other night, and I told her, I was like, how fucking good was it when they played that sound? And she had no idea. I was like, oh, because you haven't seen this, have you? And she's like, nah. And I was like, oh, okay.
Can you just tell us where the sound's from? Ah!
It gives away a lot if I tell you where the sound is from. So yeah,
she's Superwoman. No, wrong
that's
universe.
all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna end it there. But that's what I was wrong about this week. But,
Teen Titans. No, DC.
Right.
Fuck.
That's DC
That's everything.
Great. Let's drop a bombshell.
All
it's
right.
your turn.
So I'm Grant McGuinness, and what I was wrong about is Magic the Gathering. So I used to, I was ardent Yu-Gi-Oh player. Yu-Gi-Oh's the shit. This Magic nerdy stuff all looks lame. What do you mean you can't go into defense mode? What are all these? No trap cards. What is this two-dimensional play is what I used to think. Not enough text on the cards, by the way. And yeah, so I was I think I might have even actually told this story on this podcast before about how I had a friend come over and he like said, oh, because we used to play Yu-Gi-Oh together. He's like, oh, we should give Magic a try. And then I beat him. I'm like, oh, actually, I don't mind this. Like, I'm into it. Then fell down the rabbit hole. And then like, Commander, I feel like is much better than Standard, which like really roped me into like the deck building side of things. But yeah, that's what I was wrong about. I was like staunchly against Magic. I used to get my roommate Magic cards as a joke because we both played Yu-Gi-Oh. And then as soon as I got into Magic, I was like, oh, you still got those Magic cards, bro? Can I have them back?
I mean, I did think Magic was pretty fucking nerdy until I played it myself, and then I was won over.
Then you realize it's really fucking nerdy.
It's really nerdy, but it's really fun. So,
well, I'm proud of you, Grant. I am.
Well, like I don't think I like obviously because I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I wasn't like, oh well, it's nerdy because obviously I'm already a nerd, I guess. But I just thought it looked less dynamic than Yu-Gi-Oh. I just thought it was like it seemed like very one pace. Like I just didn't understand the nuances and the combos. But it's just that they're actually both very different games in the way that you play them. But yeah, it's like now I love both of them. Like I still play Yu-Gi-Oh online all the time. I still play both, which gets confusing sometimes remembering back and forth between mechanics. Like I'd say there's a lot more mechanics in Magic, but I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh's probably honestly, I'll probably get some hate for this, but I think Yu-Gi-Oh's way more intense, like to figure out on a high level. I think like a casual level, like Magic's probably more intense on a casual level, but I think on like the highest base, just with the turnover of decks and like how quickly you change through, I think Yu-Gi-Oh is far more intense.
As someone who has never played Yu-Gi-Oh in their entire life, you're wrong. Spoken like a true nerd. No.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that, yeah, I've never played Yu-Gi-Oh, but I know people can get pretty fucking serious about Magic though. So like swings and roundabouts.
No, but like what I'm saying is like, say if you're playing Magic and you get up into the higher echelons, like a lot of the stuff you see is going to be the same. Like people are going to be using like very similar builds for stuff. Whereas because like the changeover,
like the standard, yeah.
It's just like this changeover in Yu-Gi-Oh happens like set to set. So like every set, like the complete, like the whatever is the good thing is like immediately in the bin because the next thing is just like so much better. So like the changeover is so fast and intense. I think that's probably like at the highest level, probably the only difference where I feel like Magic's got so many like eternal formats that everything stays kind of the same. But I think that's also why Yu-Gi-Oh, at a sense, like as a cards, they're probably cheaper than Magic. But I guess if you're switching to the meta build every set, then it probably is more expensive.
So you must spend a lot of money on Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
No, I don't. No, I don't play. I play digitally. Fuck that. No,
that's the way to go.
I hate new Yu-Gi-Oh as well. Like all the new shit they do now, I don't like it. So I like old school when it was simple. So I can't even keep up with how you play Yu-Gi-Oh these days. Like they've added in like 6 or 7 like different summoning types. When I played, there was like 2. They got like
Grant.
Like 3 sideboards, so like cards like say like if you had your command zone that you could summon from your command zone in Yu-Gi-Oh, you got fusion summoning, you got link summoning, you got synchro summoning, you got XYZ summoning, and these are cards that aren't in your immediate deck. So like there's a lot going on. It's intense.
So you just keep cards up your sleeve. Sounds like you cheat.
Cards more or less, yeah. It's literally just on the side. Yeah, it's crazy.
Never play Magic with Grant is the takeaway from this.
Absolutely.
But I think something that you just said is sort of a wonderful segue into the topic we're going with this evening, which is nerddom across the board is known for gatekeeping in many, many different ways. But I think one that affects a lot of people is financial gatekeeping. You know, like what is keeping players out. So we're like, it was raised to have a discussion around, you know, the gatekeeping within both the music and the nerd industry, really, when it comes to finances. And then one thing that's I think is important is we're going to try and, as often as possible, bring it back to how we make the most of the hashtag broke life and how we kind of make
hashtag
it
bro life.
bro like broke life. I mean, we're bros as well. Like, you know, Margy, you're a bro as much as anyone else. We're all in this together. So it's a gender neutral term. What's going on, bro?
Especially if you're a Kiwi.
I don't think I've ever called anyone bro.
I call people brah.
But I think it's an interesting concept. You know, I kind of had that opening note of, you know, with the rise of popularity of anything, there's always going to be that sort of I've used the word, there will always be capitalist dogs, that'll try and suck every single cent they possibly can out of the thing.
Yes, they will.
But I feel like we have some sort of good ways around it.
Thievery. Putting cards up your sleeves.
If you're dedicated, there's ways around it. Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%, 100%. But I mean, starting in, maybe let's start in the music world, because obviously, like we do a lot kind of in the nerd world. Now, you're both, musicians, and there is that whole concept of like, you are both musicians, quote unquote, or not, you are. But it is that whole idea of like, the better gear you have, the better your band is, the better you are. How true is that for both of you?
No, I completely disagree. So I saw a band. I won't name names. They opened up for one of my friends. They're a band from Brisbane, and they so like they had all like they're like running in ears, but like weird like cable in ears, like cabled straight to the to the machine that they're coming from. But the guy didn't even have a fucking noise gate. So I'm like, and like they were like out of time with each other. I'm like, just start from the start. Like the in ears is the last thing that you need to get to like take yourself to the next level. Start it first of all, being able to play tight without in ears. I guess I'm kind of gatekeeping now, but like get a noise gate if you're gonna play something that's like super high distortion, so it doesn't go.
Stop telling me to get a noise gate, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Well, you're a bassist, so you should get a compressor instead. But
jeez, this I have fights with about.
But no, like I feel like the better gear you have doesn't like. You have to be good at what you do, and the gear then makes you better. I feel like if you just get a bunch of good gear, it's not going to make you a good musician or a good band, because if you don't know what you're doing with it, it doesn't matter anyway. It's square one.
But is there a ceiling though? Like, is there you can only get this good, but then it's like it's only by spending $2,000 on something that you can get to that next level?
Depends what music you play.
Depends on the genre, absolutely. Yeah. Like if you play noise,
metalcore, then maybe.
If you play like noise, punk, rock side of that genre, you can make some fucking weird, excellent sounds on the cheap. Like, I don't know, like McCluskey, like playing with fucking 3 strings on his guitar. Like that, like you don't need good shit to make it sound good, but and also it depends like who your audience is as well. Absolutely. Like if you're playing in technical death metal world, people are more likely to be, I'm guessing, Grant, people are more likely to be critical of tone and
I'd say the
production.
Opposite.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're like in technical death metal, like if it sounds too good, people don't like it. Because they're the real actuallys, the tech death people. Sometimes you could even do a pig screw and they're like, that's not tech death.
Oh my god.
If you have good production in tech death, you're deathcore. So that's the gatekeeping. Yeah. So I think it's kind of like I personally like. I say like there is a ceiling you can reach dependent on if you're trying to sound like everyone else in your genre. I think that's where it is. Like I don't really think there is like say like Suno, like the only thing they need is more 8x12s. Like they're not getting any more musical equipment, they're just getting more speakers. That's so I think
but it's all they need.
I think it's more about like what you're playing and the authenticity of it. Like, if you want to just be like cookie cutter, join the next metalcore band, then you're going to go out and get your Axe FX3 and your X32 rig. So you all have your live in-ears feed because you need to really
going
each
digital
other
and
in live time, which I don't understand. Like I play to a click, but I don't need to hear someone else because.
Do you play to a click?
Yeah, but they like so there's some bands that play to a click, but they all have everyone in the same mix, which I don't understand. Because if I'm playing to a click, why do I need to hear if someone else is? Because they should just be playing right. Because you just should be practicing.
You should just be playing right.
Yeah,
this is my dirty punk playing coming out, where I'm like, if I can play through foldbacks where I can barely hear anything except for like I don't know the snare, and we can all play in time, then you guys can
But well, like the reason why I play to a click is because we used to always have like different drummers playing with us because we didn't have a solid drummer. So it was like if they were a little bit off, then like we're always on. And because we all live in different states, we don't band practice. So if we could play to the click, then we don't have to band practice. We can just rock up and play the show because we practice to the click. That's the reason why I use it anyway.
Yeah.
But even then, it's not essential. I don't think it's essential for any band to have a click. Like maybe if you've been trying to be uber professional, but even then, like back in the 80s, they didn't have the shit and they played fine.
Yeah,
So like
even
it's possible.
recording, like if you're a good enough drummer, you absolutely don't need a click to play to when recording, because you get like more of the push and pull, like where you can those subtle BPM differences but that's a whole other kettle of fish talking about that.
But the
like
more technology, the less soul.
Say for a standard setup, like I don't have like the best bass ever. I've got a like 93 62 reissue J bass because she sounds sexy and that's what I wanted. And that one was like $1,000, like, which is pretty standard for that sort of age range. But you know, like you can get I see people playing on like Squier basses and shit and Squier guitars live all the time, and you could pick those up for a few hundred a pop. But then, you know, if you want to run through an amp that doesn't sound like dog shit live, you're looking at a bit of money, because like amps are something that costs a lot. Like for me, I really want I want a dark class bass head, and like either the microtubes
Omega thing.
either the Alpha Omega bass head or the microtubes 900. The silver one's that's the silver one. Yeah, the Alpha Omega is pretty nice too. But I've only played these through borrowing off other people. I don't even own my own bass head. I have a cab where 3 out of 4 speakers work. That'll do. But like, yeah, the Alpha, like these dark glass heads are like $1,600 to $1,800, which I don't have. Like, I live off Centrelink, yo. I do not have my life together. And then, okay, say you're not running any pedals, you're still going to need a fucking lead. So that's going to be, I don't know, at least $20, depending where you get it and what length and what quality you get. Again, like sometimes quality is a thing that's an issue in music. Like sometimes
I think quality leads are definitely
quality. Like you want quality leads,
Like,
but like rehearsal spaces are something that you have to do. Picks aren't going to cost you much, but like if you want a couple of pedals, which a lot of people need unless you have the perfect guitar tone coming out straight away, then pedals average $200 a pop. You can go down to like $100 for a tuner, and you can go up to like how much is the there's some real fucking expensive pedals out there.
Yeah, well, like my wireless pedal, it was not cheap. That's for
sure.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And like if you're playing wireless, that's a whole other thing.
But then
like,
again, not exactly necessary. Like unless you wanted to be like a big time musician, but sorry, bruv, it's probably not going to happen. Like it's pretty rare. Like not like even like most of like the bigger bands I know, like they don't really make a lot of money. Like they're not making like they may be making like if you're doing real well, you're making minimum wage between the lot of you.
Yeah,
like, it's a love and a passion. Like you're not going to be if you're playing them, you're not going to be rich and famous.
But also, like for most musicians, anyway, like there's definitely a concept as well, which I think Josh can help weigh in on, of like the pay to play. Like, yeah, sure. Like I've seen some fucking amazing bands in my time just fade into the ether because, like, yeah, they're playing shows. Yeah, they have a fan base. Only in Melbourne or like only in Brisbane, and they're putting out releases that are like some of my favorite albums of the year, but they're not picking up with the right people because they're not putting the money. Publicity is fucking expensive.
It's very expensive.
Like, and we did a publicity thing for our latest single that we put out, and it cost like $1,000 or something, or a couple of grand, and it didn't get us shit. It got us a Rolling Stone premiere, like Rolling Stone Australia, but like,
what's the thing? Like, it's kind of like a lot of those people don't look at those e-magazines now anymore because they're so flooded. Like, I remember
because you pay to get a premiere in them. Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I mean, you're right. It's like the whole concept is, you know, is that earth-shattering thing for a lot of people who think bands like earn the cover of Rolling Stone or earn the cover of anything. Like, that's all paid. That's all marketing. It's all paid for.
Absolutely.
There's no one that earns the cover to anything. It's literally you buy the cover of every magazine in there. Like it is a really kind of hard thing for a lot of young bands as well. When, I mean, Margy, as you say, it's like, that's, I mean, $1,000 is a very cheap marketing like PR campaign as well. Like I've for certain things I've been quoted anywhere between $3,000 and $5,000 and $8,000 for like not even bands the size of like your Parkway Drives or anything like that.
Yeah,
like
they'd be spending tens
Oh,
of
they'd
thousands.
be
so
much money.
Well, their
but,
label would.
yeah, I mean, like across the board,
if you're
those
unsigned, it's a different thing than if you're with a label.
yeah,
it
it's
depends
fucking
even
hard.
like who you're signed to. A lot of the times, like they're not going to cover that much for that kind of stuff. Like a lot of, like say, like Grayscale, for example, they like.
I've heard they're
very
such
much.
shitheads.
No,
the
but it's more
worst.
about like having like a DIY relationship where you both do the most to mutually promote each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's, I mean, if we're bringing it, like I said, constantly bringing the concept back to like, what can you do about it? I think that's the one thing of like, especially in Australia, we're really, really lucky where it's like, the host of one of the only nationally syndicated punk and hardcore radio shows in the world is pretty easy just to send a DM on Instagram or like find their email address on the show's website and you can email them directly. Like within
find
Australia,
them on Hinge like I did.
find them on Hinge and match with them and then decide to start a podcast. Like these are things that kind of happen. It's totally something you can do. I mean, not at the moment because I've gone through the phase of deleting the apps because that's just what I do, swings and roundabouts. But
slide into his DMs.
Or you could buy a giant 10,000 card box of Magic cards and then divvy them up, and then that's how you also meet that.
You just make a trail down the footpath and
Magic the Gathering cards. But the point is that like I think for a lot of things that are pay to play, if the band just spent an afternoon doing the research, like I the biggest fan, as Grant said, of that DIY lifestyle and doing things yourself. And there are a lot of things that you can, like, if you just like spend an afternoon making a list of every publication that you want to get into, you can find the contact details for most of them. I mean, with a publicist, it is important for bigger acts, because the main thing you're buying with any publicist, I mean, pretty much anyone in the music industry at all, the main thing that you're buying is their relationships.
It's all about who knows who. And if your PR company is like mates with these people who put on this festival, etc., etc. If your manager knows these people, there's a lot of that. And so if you don't have a manager and all that kind of stuff, you could still reach out, don't get me wrong, to like all of these PR places and publications. And like you could reach out to publications, easy as. I used to write for the AU Review, and the amount of emails I got a day of just bands being like, hey, listen to our stuff. And I was like, I'd give it a listen, but like, you get so many like...
My inbox is disgusting. Like I listen to everything I possibly can, but
I think in that case as well, it's also doing something to set yourself apart. Like say like the emails, for example, it's about having making like an EPK, like an electronic press kit that like sets you apart from just the, hey, this is my band, listen to us, put something interesting in there, something about the band members, format it in a specific way. But I guess then again, if you don't have anyone in your band that's decent with like Photoshop, then that's also in itself.
And then you have to pay for someone to do that.
Task to undertake.
What you want to do is blackmail. But also like, again, building an EPK, you need pictures, so you need to get a professional photographer normally, unless you have a mate who's great with the camera, but you don't want to use people's time and skills and not pay them for it. So you got to pay for your photo shoot.
Exposure bucks.
Oh my God. And you got to release a film clip or two here and there, right? Like
fucking expensive.
And that's fucking expensive. So is recording, mixing, mastering, like getting merch printed. Whenever we do a merch run, we pay for it out of our own pockets, and then the money that we get back goes into the band kitty. So like in effect, we're just putting money into the band kitty every now and then. But it's like, and also getting someone to design your shirt. Like, I mean, I'll design a shirt, for nothing because I like it. But like, Jesus, it's, so being a musician, there's a lot that goes into it. And there's a lot, I mean, and even being a music consumer, like if you're a metalhead, fuck me. Especially when you used to have to buy CDs, that was expensive.
Vinyl is very expensive.
Exactly. Vinyl's expensive. Festival costs. Like if you want to go to a good festival, tickets, especially for like internationally touring bands, at like $40 at least a pop for a small international act, wherein big ones you're looking at like over 100. Yeah, like consuming music is expensive. You know, Spotify, Bandcamp purchases, I don't know, music shit.
Music in general. But
Apple
yeah, I mean,
Music.
But I reckon the most important thing is to talk about music that you like and bands that you like and share it around and wear merch and fucking talk about bands. And especially, and if you know someone in the music industry, tell them, like, I saw the best band the other night, you should listen to him. Like,
yeah, I've had that.
Seeing a band live, yeah.
I've had that multiple times where like friends will message me, but I've just been at this gig, seen this band, you have to check them out. And it's like, yeah, a friend of mine's band at the moment, she was telling me the other day, like they've like only started 6 months ago, and they've apparently they've had to turn down like so many gigs just because every time they play a show, like word just spreads.
What is this, Terminal Sleep?
No, this is a band called the Myths. They're called. They're like a 4-piece psych rock outfit, and they're fucking amazing. Yeah, they're like, it's just word of mouth. Like every time someone's seen them at a show, someone's recommended someone else. And yeah, and Margy, like you said, like that's, I think on both sides, yeah, it's like networking. If you're in a band, talk about your band. If you see a sick band though as well, like you have no idea how much that helps to just be like, hey, you should check out this band. You'd probably like this band too. No, just before we started recording this, I was telling Margie to go and check out a band that doesn't really need any help because they're like some of the biggest punks in the world.
Yeah.
But, you know, just like,
there's nothing wrong with it. Like,
no, nothing.
I guess that, like, you also do have the other side where it's like some of those bands are like, you know, cool guys, and they quote unquote cool guys, and they won't want to talk to you. But
some of them are bands that should be cancelled but are still somehow running, and that's another one. Fucking call people out when they're shit. Like, hold them accountable to their actions.
100%.
I mean, my biggest fear is being on the spectrum and me having foot and mouth disease. Like the amount of people that like I inadvertently offend, like, and I'm just so worried that someone's going to call me out one day, and I'm going to have to be like, I don't remember insulting you. Like, oh, gee,
I'm so sorry.
I think I meant it as like a compliment. Oh no, and yeah, but
I think one sort of experience that I think straddles the sort of the music and the nerd experience. I mean, Margie mentioned before, like concert tickets are so expensive, and obviously, like the more you pay, the closer you are to the action. Like there is this like tiered experience, and I mean, it's the same in a lot of nerd like things, whether it's meet and greets or whether it's like anything. There is this whole like concept of pricing tiers, which I think it was there's a Magic the Gathering.
Yes.
Magic the Gathering.
By the way,
YouTube
subscribe to our
personality.
Patreon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
just,
a personality.
Just straight up send me money through PayPal. I need to pay rent this month.
There's a dude called the Professor who runs the Tolarian Community College, and the way he's always very, very talking about like the fiscal side of Magic the Gathering, and he's very, very much like telling people to buy single cards rather than buying packs because like you're not going to get the value out of it and stuff like that. But yeah, the one point that I think kind of straddles the entire idea of like gatekeeping and money is the fact, like, I don't mind if people want to pay more for a higher experience, but I think it's when I mean, you take Magic the Gathering example. Like, if there's only cards that you can get in the very expensive packs, like even if there's like a lower chance you're going to get them in the cheaper packs, like if the only way to get this powerful thing is to pay more money, I don't agree with that. Like, if it's harder to get,
absolutely.
If it's harder to get, that's fucking fine. If I have to grind in a game for longer to get this upgrade and someone can just pay for the upgrade, whatever. But if the only way to get an upgrade is to pay for it, I think that's just garbage. Like,
yeah, and I think this is where like sharing is such an important thing. Like, where if you, I mean, I know Magic cards. Letting someone else handle your Magic cards is like a whole different thing. But like share, like if you're okay with it, sharing's great. Or then there's always the opportunity of like proxies. Yeah,
proxies are the fucking best.
Yeah, and like honestly, as long as you're not going around claiming it's an original card, like what's the problem? Like,
yeah,
well, I think the issue is the only people that are going to complain about people using proxies are the people that were dumb enough to pay fucking $1,000 for a guy's cradle. That's it. The only people complaining about it are the people that have paid heaps of money. It's like being in a cult. You know, the only reason why people are stuck in cults for so long is because at some point you have to admit everything you did was wasted. And that's why they get stuck and don't leave. And I think it's the same
and
thing.
they have the Margy mentality. They've never been wrong about anything in their
Yeah.
entire life. So
No, it's the people that have free cardboard that are wrong.
Yeah, no, I think like proxies, and I think 3D printing's the other one, because I think like I've been like so many Warhammer meme groups, and I reckon it's solid like 25% of the memes are just making fun of Games Workshop for like how there was a meme the other day that was just like a person just being like, I have all this extra money, I don't know what to do with this money, I wish someone would just steal all of my money because I have too much of it. And then the last thing is just like someone giving a presentation, and he's like, so yeah, that's how I picture our customers are. And I was like, that's 100% how Games Workshop picture their customers. 'Cause some shit is so fucking expensive. And obviously, like, and I think this kind of leads me into a definition topic. But I think like people that are kind of 3D printing stuff that looks like it is the same thing but is not official. Like, I kind of use this the definition the difference between a nerd and a dork. And if I'm using three examples, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, they're not nerds, they're dorks. So they make things more expensive. They want to grind everything they can out of it. But like, I feel like the nerds are more, for the most part anyway, more likely to pirate, to 3D print, to trash bash, to create bits of art out of like literally garbage and share it on the internet. I feel like nerds will try and find their best way to make things as cheap as fucking possible.
Yeah.
While the capitalist dorks just try and like squeeze everything they can out of it.
I think I'd just call them capitalists.
Fair.
But yeah, I mean, 3D printing your own figurines is a good option if you have a 3D printer. But they are, again, a price hurdle. So, true. But there are things like Hero Forge where, like, if you're only looking for like one figurine or, you know, whatever, you can do your own 3D design of your thing. Like, and you can get a steel figurine printed for $35. Like, Hero Forge, I just had fun building a figurine on there one day because I was like, I want to build my D&D character. And I did. And she looked adorable. And I didn't get it printed, but I was like, I don't know.
Even down from there, there's like Roll20 where you just play online. Like, you don't even need like a token. You don't need to pay for, I guess sometimes you have to download the books. So you have to pay, like, there's the base D&D stuff. But if you play on Roll20, like, all the content's there. You just like put an item on your token. It's got the compendium for like it's got all the rules for the playbook, you know.
Roll20 is great. We use that. We do because we live all over, like all across Melbourne, and we just use Roll20. Like I've got the hard copy of the D&D book, but that's only because I wanted it because it's so handy to have. But like
yes, absolutely.
You know, and yeah, I'm poor, but it's nice to treat yourself. But like nerd stuff is expensive, but so when we were talking about doing this, we raised the topic of money. Like, do nerds just have more disposable income? Well, according to
I looked
up the ABS, like the Australian Bureau of Statistics. The average salary, according to the ABS, is for an Australian who works full time is between 78K to 105K. That's like the average price range. And I was like, excuse me?
Yeah, exactly. Average, not median. The median price range is much lower. Yeah.
And so that's the average. So the median is a lot lower than that. So
like 45 or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. 40. Like I think minimum wage for like full-time work comes to about 45K. And there are some nerdy jobs like doing like web development, IT kind of stuff that comes to that's over 100K a year. And certain types of engineering, they're over 100K, like Australian dollars. But then, you know, you've got like your other end, like me, who lives off Centrelink and works casually and gets like 40K a year max. Absolute max is like the amount of money I'll bring in a year. But like then you also have to remember, so like I don't think that there is more necessarily, because nerds work all different kinds of jobs. Like just because you're a nerd doesn't mean you have a nerdy job. And also people in the nerd community are probably more likely to be neurodivergent, I'd say. It's we run in packs. That's an episode topic in itself. But like we do run in packs. So if you are neurodivergent, you might not be capable of full-time work, and you know that might be a financial limitation as well. But you still have that incentive to participate in nerdy things because you want the dopamine hit from stuff that's in line with your hobbies. Like, yes, bringing home that, what is it, like $20 Funko Pop, like fuck it, that's going to give me a bit of dopamine every time I look at it. It's worth $20.
100%.
You know, like, so yeah, I think the income is not the thing like that permits nerds to partake. It's just what we enjoy doing.
Agreed.
What we're willing to do to keep doing what we enjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
And like my favorite thing to do, I think I was talking in the last episode how I picked up 147 graphic novels for very, very cheap, is lurking. It's honestly not as good as it used to be, but lurking like Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace, that sort of stuff, you can still find the odd absolute bargain. Like Margy, you were talking before about like the Dungeons and Dragons books. Like I see so many of those on Marketplace these days, like people selling like whole sets and stuff like that for a lot cheaper than you'd pick them up brand new, and like they're still in good condition. Like nerds tend to take pretty good care of their shit, especially stuff like that. And so yeah, listen,
you never know
I have
what you're going to find in an oppie as well.
Yeah, op shops are fucking so much fun just to go through. But yeah, it's like I have noticed these days, especially on Facebook Marketplace, not so much on Gumtree, but especially on Facebook Marketplace, people are very much of the attitude is, oh, I know what I have and I know what it's worth. I was like, well, it's worth what people are willing to pay
for it. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a very, very different thing. But like, yeah, I mean, I was walking through this like real fucking fancy new market that I didn't even know existed the other day. It's like all these like little stalls like set up like a bazaar, and I saw some like no name NES game that still had its box, and its box was like in good condition, and it was trying
it Bad Box Mega Man?
No, it was like
it wasn't Bad Box Art Mega Man. Damn.
No, it was not Bad Box Art Mega Man. It was just some crappy like a tennis game or something like that. But someone was trying to sell it for like $90 just because it had the box
vintage.
And it had because it had the vintage. But like if you went back maybe not 10, but maybe 15 years ago, someone would have been trying to give that away. Like quite literally just be like, please take this off my hands. Like this is just wasting space. Like
you don't want a dog turd just because it's gone white in the backyard.
Maybe you do. I don't know. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, but I feel like that bubble's going to burst at some point. Like I don't know when.
It already happened with
I think
like comic
inflation.
Books. Yeah, like the speculation booms, like the comic books that all crushed. Like they fell apart. Like coming into the 2000s. Like I think the same thing will happen with Magic cards when everyone realizes that Wizard of the Coast is just gaming the secondhand market, and it's basically just gambling on booster packs. And I reckon eventually something will happen. Wizards of the Coast will go, oh shit, let's get one last big cash grab and reprint the reserves list, and everyone realizes that their cardboard's worthless.
Yeah. and
everything will drop.
Then they have to branch out. But like some things, like some old comics are still selling for like $1,000. Like I found like some old comics, like with just like a quick browse on eBay, going for $1,000, and I found some like old figurines that are going for like $1,000. But again, it's like some people just like to collect old stuff, like old cars and stuff. That's a bit different because that is a lot more expensive. But like but just to access it. But I think that's the thing as well. Like, if you want to get into Magic the Gathering, and you don't know anyone who in your MTG community where you live, you might be like, okay, maybe I'll get some cards from the game shop, and then maybe I'll go to a Friday Night Magic, like, because this is like what I did kind of, and it's like it's going to cost you money, and you go to Friday Night Magic, and because everyone's playing like standard, you've got the same sort of decks going around, you're seeing the same kind of thing, and you're like, oh, okay. But yeah, use online communities. That's what Northside Nerds we definitely want to try and encourage. I think is founding online communities where you can be like, hey, I want to play Magic, like.
Who's up for a game? Yeah.
And who's got a deck I can borrow?
Who's up for a game? Please don't be a fuckhead about it.
But yeah, I think the internet is such a, it is both a wonderful and a terrible place. But in terms of like some of my favorite people to watch on YouTube are people who make like, I mean, Warhammer Terrain sort of the main example of it, but like they're literally just out of stuff they find in their trash. And it's like, I think that's in terms of everything, whether it's 3D printing, it's proxies, whether it's that, it's finding ways to be creative and having that creative spirit. Don't think that I have to buy this piece of terrain because this is made by Games Workshop and it costs $250 for like this one thing. Like I just randomly one night, it's just like, I just want to try my hand just building a church and see what happens. And I literally built a whole diorama church out of like sand, paddle pop sticks, construction paper, and some it was like foam rubber that I just cut into squares to make look like bricks. And it was because like
Did you burn it down afterwards?
No, it's like all like it's all like crumbled and shit anyway. So it was already kind of destroyed. Maybe it was burnt at some point in time. I don't know the backstory of it. But yeah, I like use YouTube as such an amazing reference because like yes, while there are ads on it, it is free. Like you don't have to pay for that. And like the amount of knowledge that's at your fingertips is fucking incredible. And in terms of like inspiring creativity in both like nerddom and in music, I mean,
just
as
anything
say,
well, even for me personally, like my personal motto is there's nothing you can't learn on YouTube in half an hour.
True.
Like this might even be like trade keeping, but like I built a deck in the backyard. I just looked up on YouTube, like how do you build a deck? I'm like, oh cool, let's save me like thousands of dollars. Let's build my own fucking deck.
And how many times have you broken your leg walking on that?
Not one time.
But yeah, I think that's it. And it's like, it'll spark. There is something to be said about limitations creating opportunity. Like it's like, all right, this is what I have. What can I make out of it? Rather than saying I need to get all these things because that's how you do it. It's saying this is what I have. What can I do with what I have? And I think that sparks some interesting creativity that can lead to some very, very cool places that like if you did spend, X amount of dollars on exactly what you're supposed to, you probably wouldn't get. It's just my thought.
Yeah, and also like if you're not creative and you don't want to have to build your own I don't know, terrain for Warhammer or something. But I mean, if you are playing Warhammer, you're likely a little creative because, you want to paint and stuff. But anyway, but like, if you're not feeling creative and you don't want to find other solutions, like find a community who you can talk to and say, has anyone got any stuff lying around I can buy off you? And people, if it's crap lying around, like, oh, I haven't used this in years. Yeah, absolutely. Like get some secondhand shit. And like, with musicians, it's all about sharing. I don't know, like I've gotten so far without owning my own amp because I can just always borrow one and, like share gear. I've got nothing against doing that. Like, I think it's great.
A gig wouldn't run smooth, I don't think, if everyone didn't like share some gear to like some imagine like a green room full of like everyone's cabs.
Oh my god!
Four drum kits in like one place.
Yeah,
like,
you got to learn to
like the workers club, and there's like 4 drum. You can't even fit shared gear in the workers club.
The tote.
But I mean, maybe that's like as well another thing that you probably actually like you may actually miss out on with money, because if you have money and you're on tour, you can get into hotels. Hotels are really boring, but sleeping on someone's floor and like having that experience of like meeting different people and like there is an interesting story. There is like, oh, I went to a hotel and fell asleep. It's like, no, I stayed in this person's house on their couch, and then in the morning I had a fucking heart attack when I realized that there was a noise coming, and then it turns out it was the kitty kitty food dispensing itself, and then the cats came and ate it and sat on my face.
I once had a band stay at my place when they were on tour. And like they had like their blow-up mattresses in the kitchen, and my friend Cameron, he wakes up, he looks at the ceiling, it's like like maybe like 2:00 in the morning, he just sees this like a giant huntsman on the roof, and that's a tour story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
But,
never
like,
happened in
it's-
hotels.
even like the
It's-
last tour I went on, we actually went in like a Winnebago, so we did
Nice.
caravan
Sick!
parks, and it costs
Yes.
like it costs less than like getting an IMAX. And like, yeah, so we had that for like 9 days, and I think like, yeah, just used like, took our sandals with us, used the campground shower. It was all sweet. It's cheap
Fuck
as cheap
yeah,
as chips.
that'd be so much fun.
And we also
Like-
had a microwave at all times. We had a table at all times. If you weren't driving, you basically just in the hotel the whole time anyway. It was sweet.
Hell yeah. So let musicians come and sleep on your floor is the moral to that story.
100%.
We're
100%.
friendly. We don't buy it often. Like,
But I think maybe that's like, if you were to take away one thing from this discussion, I would I think it'd be use a lack of money to encourage creativity, because I feel like that's almost one thing that money can do, is stifle creativity, because it's just like, oh, if I have money I can do the thing. Whereas when you don't have money, it's very much like, all right, I don't have that. What are my other options? Like, what else can I do? Which is not a thought you have if you can just afford to do the thing.
I think it's
I
also
don't,
like,
I don't have a laptop stand. I just have a pile of textbooks that I put my laptop on. See,
I think it's also like taking a real look at where you are before you spend a bunch of money, because like I think like the end goal is good to have like the really good gear, but getting the really good gear straight away is like, there's so many other priorities that you need to sort out before you worry about getting like the best fucking noise suppressor, the best head, your Axe Effects 3 Kemper or whatever. Like, there's so many other things that need to be sorted out. Like, like you could do all that stuff, but like you can't play in time. So like, what's the point? You should put
or your songs aren't great.
Oh yeah,
but
I didn't
like,
want to say that. I guess that's subjective, but yeah, that's also what I kind of wanted to say, but I didn't want to say.
But
that.
also playing music's about having fun and
enjoy
first
it.
and foremost.
Do
But
everything
also,
for the right intentions.
but if you are a fucking pedal nerd, then go out and spend $800 on a pedal if it's going to bring you joy, because unless someone knows how to solder and knows how to understand circuitry, which would be fucking dope. Yeah,
well,
your own. Oh,
Grant did just say, 30 minutes on the internet, you can learn anything. Maybe there's
that's going to take more. It's going to be 30 minutes to learn how to read electrical drawings, and it's going to be 30 minutes to learn how to solder.
Look, I've got a science degree. I've been in science for so long. My dad's an electrician, and the one thing I can't understand is just electricity. It just no idea. Like, absolutely not. So,
let alone distorting electricity through pedals. And then also putting in a bypass to make it somehow not distort electricity sometimes. I don't get it either.
100%. 100%.
Honestly,
but
it's magic. It's all magic.
I think that kind of brings me to one of my last points, which was I've gone this whole episode without outing myself as a certain kind of person, and I'm not going to do that now.
A communist?
A gatekeeper.
Pause. One of those two. But there is one like there is one of those kind of like main points of a particular political ideology and financial ideology that says, from those according to ability to those according to need. And I think that's such a powerful thing, as well. It's like,
all right, Marx, calm down.
But you know what you're capable of, you know what you can offer, and you know where your limitations are. So I mean, Margy, as you just said, like, you know one part of it, but you don't know electronics. But there is someone else in the music industry who knows electronics but doesn't know X, Y, Z, and you kind of have that trade relationship with people. So it's like, it's I have a thing, you need a thing, you can have a thing, and then later on down the track, I need this thing, you can help me out with that. And there is there is a community to be made around that. It's all in the name. I'm not going to say the name, but it's all in the name. Community is another word, but whatever.
You just really like the TV show, don't you?
100%. I really like the TV show.
I'm a cat. I'm a sexy cat. Sorry.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that kind of
community
is,
yeah.
I think it comes down to it's community. If you can break it down to one kind of thing, it's finding like-minded people, knowing what you can offer, finding out what they can offer, and sharing. You know,
And it's
not that
okay
hard.
if you don't have a 5-year plan because you're not Stalin. So what?
Stalin had a 5-year plan. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it was called taking the food away from everyone.
Communism is another episode.
Right, now we're going to move on before I get in a lot of trouble. As we move into the final beat. Yeah, before I start getting bullied again. It seems to be the cover. We could just rename this Balrogs Blastbeats and bullying Josh.
I'm not opposed to the idea.
I'm not opposed to it at all.
No, neither you are. I know. It's lucky I have very, very thick skin. Now, excuse me while I cry for 15 minutes.
Yeah, if you wanted to, you could.
He is half orc.
You could cut all the bullying out and just put it in a separate podcast. It'd be just as good.
I mean, technically, yeah, I have the power, so I can edit this any way that I want. I edit out all of the bullying. I can make you guys look really mean. Like, I could do all kinds of things with this.
Josh has actually been editing every episode just to make me look like a complete idiot.
He bullies us all the time, and he's taking it out.
Yeah, I just look like the angel, 100%.
And we're all obviously people who've never been bullied in our lives, so.
No, definitely not. But we are going to move in to the final beat for this episode of Balrogs and Blastbeats. And Margy, you've proposed the question of which non-human sidekick from any of the sidekicks across the pop culture universe would we like to have with us, just in general, just in life, not in one particular scenario, just which would be the good lifelong non-human sidekick. And maybe Grant, let's start with you. Where would you take this particular concept?
Got to be Alakazam, the Pokemon Alakazam. He's got telekinesis. He can teleport too. So I would just be like, oh fuck, can't be bothered driving to Coles. Yo, Alakazam, let's go to Coles and teleport to Coles.
Can you grab me a cornetto?
Yeah. So teleport in and then teleport out, so I don't even have to pay for it. I'll probably get chased by the dudes from Jumper. Samuel L. Jackson will end up at my front door, but that's a different IP.
Now there's a crossover. Pokemon Jumper.
Yeah. I'd watch it.
Amazing.
I'd absolutely watch it.
It'd still be better than Attack Force. But yeah, I like if I could have any it's always my go-to Pokemon, Alakazam. He's my G. That's it. That's for me. How about you, Margy? Who's your non-human sidekick?
Look, I was gonna say I'm predictable. I was gonna say something like Upper, because a flying bison would be really useful. I could just yeet up to Queensland, visit the parents. I don't have a car, so I could just fly to the shops. But I think it might be a bit cruel keeping it in my small backyard. So maybe just like Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. A sassy power-hungry wizard trapped in the body of a small cat who really likes treats and just as their confidence check. I'd love that. And he could just sass my cat. So I'd be pretty happy with that. I clearly did not give this a lot of thought. These are the first two that have come to my head, and I'm sticking with it.
I think it's a great answer. I think Salem's a great answer. I think I went for a similar sort of tone, but obviously you're a cat person and I'm a dog person. So my runner up was...
I'm not a cat person. I'm just an animal person.
You're an animal person. You're a cat owner.
I'm a sky bison person, but
but for my runner up, if he wasn't such an alcoholic, would be Brian Griffin. I like the idea of a talking dog, especially a smart talking dog. Well, one that I can have a bit of a conversation with, but I feel like his alcoholism just turns him to just be a bit of a piece of shit. So I was like, all right, well, what other sort of hairy creature can I talk to? And then I realized, well, I like learning new languages. So I'm going to go with Chewbacca. I want Chewbacca as my non-human sidekick, and then I will just learn Wookiee, and then we can have conversations back and forward, and we can go on some wild adventures. And I mean, it's difficult to tell by looking at, I know that I look scary, but I'm not very good in a fight. And so I feel like Chewbacca is going to help me there.
That's smart. But what if you stub your toe and you're like, ah, and then he's like, oh, what did you say about my mother? And then just that would be my worry.
Arms off. Yeah, 100%. But no, I feel like I have a thing for talking hairy creatures. And so I feel like Chewbacca would be my my non-human sidekick in life, because I feel like that'd be a bit of fun. He also looks like he'd just be good to spoon. I would like to spoon Chewbacca.
Yeah, spooning's an important one. And again, I don't think I could fit a sky bison in my room. Like, I mean, a Pikachu would be cute, I guess. And if we throw back to last episode, if there's a zombie apocalypse, that's my power source.
True.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he just, like, depending on the kind of zombie, you wouldn't be able to electrocute them, because I don't think they'd really care.
That's true, but like I would go for like a Charmander, but they're not that fluffy, and also fire hazard.
Yeah, and then you can't really put the fire out, as we talked about in the first episode, otherwise we'll die.
And also it's what's going to get along with my current pet, so you know.
Fair.
What about you, dear listener?
All right, you need to let us know.
Yeah, would a Pokemon really be a good pet? Would you get sick of it going Pika Pika all the fucking time? Would a sassy cat be good? Would Chewbacca be good? I don't know. Like, is it mean to keep like a kind of humanoid creature as a pet sidekick?
I'd take care of him. I'd be good to him. He wouldn't be like a pet. He would be like my sidekick, my boy Wonder.
He'd be just slightly less important than I am.
Most plot lines will directly involve me as the main character. He gets his own episode every now and then.
Exactly. But every Friday after this episode comes out, the post goes onto the Northside Nerds Instagram with my amazing Photoshop jobs, as they always are. It's I think I'm actually getting worse at Photoshop, which is so much fun. I'm really enjoying it. But also go back through all the other episodes. Like, this is episode 8 now, and every Friday we've posted a question and posited the meme, or posited a question on the Northside Nerds Instagram, and there are always lots and lots of fun.
And if you just disagree with anything that we've said, come disagree with us on the internet, which is what the internet was invented for.
It wasn't the betterment of the human species. It was about fighting over petty things. And damn it, if I can't do that, what should I be doing?
And watching cat videos, because damn it, they're so cute.
Absolutely. But yeah, follow Northside Nerds on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube as well. I think we may actually be having our very first guest on Balrogs Blastbeats soon, which is going to be a bit of fun. I'm going to see where that goes by adding a fourth to the mix for just 1 week, and seeing how things turn out. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
If you're a nerdy musician and you feel like jumping on, slide into my DMs or our DMs. I don't know.
Slide to Margy's DMs. Slide into Margy's DMs.
She needs it.
But yeah, nerds of any kind. We're keen to add some different nerd voices to the mix every couple of shows. Not sure quite exactly how often it'll happen, but keen to see how that goes.
And yeah, if you've got any special requests or questions you want to pose at us, you know where to find us.
Northside Nerds
on the internet. Northside Nerds.
Like and subscribe. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts, because
you can't review on Spotify, can you?
Yes, you can. No, if you listen to enough of the episodes, then you can. If you listen to like every episode that's released, you can review the podcast.
That's a lot.
Oh, I've done it.
Well, I mean, I guess it stops it because I'm not listening to myself talk for fucking 5 hours or how. No, what are we up to? 8, so at least 8 hours. I'm not doing that to then fake review afterwards. So, I mean, power to them.
Where's your commitment? Where's your commitment?
Yeah, where's your DIY spirit?
I don't like the sound of my own voice at the best of times, and so I'm just like,
it was the blast of times. Just put yourself on mute, sort of.